safe space and a brave place. This is Counsel Culture, where it's not about canceling, it's about counseling. And today I'm being counseled by my personal pastor, the one and only Dr. J.P. Foster. Let's get it. It's an honor, privilege, and a pleasure once again to be joined in a safe space and a brave place to have conversation, dialogue about life, about the journeys that we are all presented with. And it truly isn't about canceling, but it's more about counseling and cultivation in that sense, where there's fellowship amongst people that I revere and have the utmost respect for. And once again, we are in this setting with someone who has a long list of accolades, but most importantly is a man of God, a father, and truly a spirit leader for so many. I mean, an emerging leader in the faith-based community and the senior pastor at Faithful Central Bible Church, which I attend weekly, the one and only Dr. John Paul C. Foster.
Man, what's up,
Pastor,
man?
What's good, my brother?
You tell me, man.
Man, come on, man. We're
me.
trying to get to it. And, I mean, it's an honor to have you here for so many reasons. I mean, because off camera, we've had many conversations that, you know, have fed me, and even I wanted to offer it up to the audience because you speak in such a honest and relatable way. And we're going to dive into a bunch of stuff because literally I'm on your couch, you my counselor. But specifically, I always say, we want to hear the origin story of the superhero journey, you know, and I feel like you are one of those emerging new voices that people are really excited about, you know, specifically in the city of Los Angeles, but I mean, because of technology in the world of media now, it's global. And, you know, interestingly enough, I attended Faithful Central before you were the senior pastor, and even got a chance over the last few years to see the emergence of Dr. Foster. But I would love to kind of just hear the story. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I would love to share with how it came about, man. Because, I mean, one thing that people often say, that you're fairly young, you know what I mean?
That's what they keep telling me. That.
But to go from Bishop Ulmer, you know, that, you know, I was a kid and, you know, following his teachings and was really, you know, fed in so many different ways by, you know, not just him, but, you know, Faithful Central in general, but then to see this new exciting energy as well as the torch was passed and you know, all of the different amazing spaces that you're taking, you know, your ministry. So I would love to just dive in, and then I'm going to give you all my problems after that.
No, first, it's an honor to be here, man, seriously, and I thank God for the conversations we've also had, and just you know, iron sharpening iron, and just those conversations of life. It's been a great ride. Most people have seen me take over Faithful Central from Bishop Palmer, which is, I call him Pops. Some people call him Bishop, some people call him Doctor. You know, to me, I call him Pops. And to have been able to be at Faithful Central for 10 years and to see what God has done, being under his leadership and seeing so much, I'm grateful to God for him. And like you mentioned, when you were younger, his ministry blessed your life.
And he's so charismatic and with the wordplay, like he's one of them ones. Like he got sermons that are classic.
You can play it right now and get blessed.
Exactly.
So it was a big transition. I think the biggest thing for me was when you transition in life and you take up different spaces, is being careful not to try to be who you're not. And many people would always tell me, "Oh, you got big shoes to fill." I'm like, hold on, I don't. And it's no disrespect to Pops and his legacy, but I have my own shoes. I think sometimes the mistake we make as leaders or emerging leaders is we try to become something that we're not because the pressure of the outside noise.
Indeed.
For me, I just trusted the same God who has had my journey from the beginning to now. And I have my own shoes. You know, we make a joke about MJ and Kobe. I tell him, I'm like, you're MJ. You know what I'm saying? That's the GOAT, and I learned from him. But also I have my own journey, and I do want to share with the viewers is that I didn't grow up in church.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You're not a church kid.
Nah, not at all. And so I want to dive into some of that too, because I think you probably have a lot of history in church before that I didn't have. And not growing up in church, we did not believe in God. We just didn't have a traditional church attendance or religious programming at all in my house.
Right.
I did grow up believing that there was a God.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what that meant growing up. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So for me,
Wow.
I wanted God to use me to save lives. Literally, I wanted to use my hands to be able to do neurosurgery. So for me, once I made that decision in my life, that was it.
Wow.
God, if I'm gonna be here, I want to be able to change people's lives. I want to be able to save lives. Use me in that way. I was a hooper.
Yeah, I was about to
You know,
say, I want to say,
yeah.
definitely basketball or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
You got them basketball shoes. That's what your shoes are. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was a hooper, but in my head, I always knew echoes of my parents. You got to get an education. You know, even when you look at percentages of who makes and who doesn't, at the end of the day, you can still use sports as a tool to advance your life in many different ways, from your getting your college paid for.
Right.
But also there's discipline and other things in sports that can take you into any area of your life. And so for me, it was bigger than just pro basketball. It was about the journey, and I really wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So now I get to this space where I'm really wrestling with what it means with my life. I got injured playing basketball, and I feel like God got my attention. I was angry. I was a little like, Lord, what God was happening?
Yeah.
And it got me to a place where I had to remind myself, like, I know this is what you want to do with your life, but what does God want from you? And I think that was the biggest gut punch. So I didn't grow up in church. I always had these thoughts of, you know, there's got to be a God out there. I mean, you walk outside, look outside.
Yeah.
The sun is coming up,
Right.
the sun goes down, the moon comes out, the stars are in the sky. Like, the way the world was orchestrated, it couldn't just, to me,
Right.
it couldn't have just blown up and all of a sudden everything was working the way it is.
Right.
So I believe there's an intelligent design behind it, and I believe that that's God. And so even trying to figure out what does that mean for me, I prayed one night. I kept getting invited to church. I really didn't want to go, to be honest with you. But it kept on happening.
Yeah.
So I remember getting invited to church. This guy kept inviting me. I said, you know, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, fellas, hang out afterwards. Y'all go out to eat. And I was like, now you're speaking my language.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? After the sermon, it's brunch.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how we can hang out and just chill. So I go to church, and that night before, and to be honest with you, it's probably the first sincere prayer I think I ever prayed, to like talking to God personally. It was simple. God, I'm gonna go to church tomorrow. I've been searching for you, and I'm gonna go in this church tomorrow. And if I don't find you, I'm done looking. It was simple.
Yeah.
And I meant it from the depths of my soul.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to this church tomorrow, and if I don't find you, I'm done looking. Man,
Right.
when I tell you, when I got in that church, I mean, it was different. From the parking lot to the front door, to now what I know is you know, ushers with the peppermint in their mouth.
Facts.
Right, leading to your seat. It was different because it was love in there. You could literally see the love of God from the parking lot to the front door, to me getting led to my seat. And I was just paying attention. I expected a bunch of judgment.
What city was this?
This was in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was, in my mind, I'm saying to myself, you know, this is different.
Yeah.
But when the pastor started preaching, I mean, when I tell you, he preached Christ and Christ crucified. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then he did an altar.
And what age were you? Just
I was like 16, about like just going out of high school.
Okay.
And I literally was like, this is there. I could feel like God, and that was different for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up in church.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit hit me. It was over.
What made you pray that prayer at even such a young age, as a teenage man? Like,
you know, I think that when you're thinking about purpose, you're in high school, you're about to go to college.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're not going to be thinking about your life and your purpose.
Right.
And in that, when you see a lot, and you're exposed to a lot, and you see life, you ask yourself, like, where's God? And I think when that came over me, I said, well, where is he? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is it? There has to be a God out there.
Yeah.
Where is he? And so through navigating those thoughts in my mind and conversations, I just didn't ever think I would go to church.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything against the church. I didn't grow up in that. So I didn't know, you know, so when I was invited, I went, and I literally, the Holy Spirit hit me, man. I was on the floor, and I wasn't joking. It wasn't like somebody came slap you in the head and you're acting on TV.
Yeah.
This was legitimate. And I was like, I have never had a feeling like this in my life. I couldn't be acting it. Like, God just got a hold of me.
Yeah, yeah.
And from that moment, I knew he was real. There's nothing you could do to convince me he wasn't real. What did that mean? I don't know.
Right.
But I know I was coming back next Sunday.
Facts.
And from that moment, I don't know what it was. It sparked a passion that I have to this day of reading God's word. I had a Bible. I held on to the Bible, and everything I just want to understand it.
Yeah.
So the pastor would preach, and I got my Bible. I'm hearing what he's saying, and I'm looking at my Bible. I'm going home and I'm studying on my own.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ignited the fire, because sometimes you go to church and they're screaming about a whole bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and it ain't nowhere in the it's
right.
nowhere in the text. I'm like, well, he did a whole lot of screaming. They were shouting, they were sweating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wigs were thrown back, but I don't see the shout in this passage.
Yeah.
So it really made me go down a hunt, and then I started talking to my friend, like, look, God is real. And then in like a month, God used me, like 30 to 40 people joined that church with me, just sharing, like talking to them about God. That's when it changed for me.
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, something is happening. So here I am wanting to go to college, wanting to do neurosurgery. And then I ended up now wrestling with, God is doing something with me in this place called church that I've never really been exposed to in my life. And I could see the impact of the gospel of Christ and Jesus, but then there's something else, like he's using me.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I kind of, I'm a hope, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna get this medical degree and I'm gonna keep on pushing.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out that way. I got injured, and
Injured after you got saved.
Oh yeah. That's the anger.
Yeah.
I'm like, I surrendered my life to you, people getting saved in the church.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything right, but then also my ego got involved. If I'm gonna keep it 100 bucks. So here I am. I gave my life to Christ. I'm at the free throw line. I'm in practice. I'm reading my Bible. I'm praying before. I'm praying after. And when you start getting good, you start feeling yourself. Everything was God.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the free throw lines and I'm praying, like we saw Kyrie.
Yeah.
You know, he's at the free throw line. He tore his ACL. And he's sitting here like literally praying.
Yeah.
Giving God thanks.
Yeah.
So that was me.
Yeah.
But then when you start getting good, you start talking trash. You start, you know what I mean? And trash talking is part of the game.
Yeah.
But to me, it was a moment of humility.
Yeah.
Where God humbled me. And I think I needed that moment, not just because God was trying to direct my path in my calling I have today, but it keeps me here. Because it reminds me, anything can be taken from you in a moment. It reminds me that God is in control. And unless you surrender to him, and unless you trust him with your future, you don't know what can happen. Wow. Can we make things work? Absolutely. Do we got contacts and people? Do we know how to get money? Yeah, we can get money. Yeah. But my goal now is, okay, God, where are you taking me? And I think that humbling moment for me is why when I do ministry, it's from a low place. And I don't mean as if I'm hiding myself, but it is a reverence for God. If you're going to use me in any space, I need to remember that I'm serving. And I think sometimes in ministry we see, these personalities, great people, charismatic, like you said.
Yeah.
But they're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're going to see the man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, it is, I am depending on God every single day. Yeah. In every place he puts me, so that I can use every gift he's given me and he can get glory somehow. Yeah. If I'm doing something, his light has to shine through it. And I think that was the turning point. And I ended up transferring and ended up going to Biola University. So I ended up transferring in college, went to Biola University. Yeah. I'm doing a tour on the school before I went there. And I'm in this dorm, it's called Hope. And I'm literally hopeless. Like, I'm sitting in my mind like, God, I'm did everything. Yeah. I'm injured. It took 1.5 years for me to heal. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Like, what's going on? Yeah. And so I go to this dorm, and I'm on a tour, and if the door is right here, the door opens. It's the females on this side, dorm on this side, the fellas dorm on this side, and I see these two white girls walking in, but I didn't see a lot of black people on this campus. That was the first problem for me. Yeah. Right. So I get on the campus, and I'm in this dorm, and I see these 2 white girls come through the door, and they gave me a look. I said, here we go. I can't go here. Yeah. I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, it's about to be racial tension. Yeah. I already see it. And so they go this way. Then she comes back. One of the white girls come back with tears in her eyes. Literally tears in her eyes. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, you're racist. You're sorry. Yeah, I know you're sorry. I know you're sorry. So she comes back. She's like, I'm sorry. I don't know you. I don't mean to bother you. but God told me to tell you that this is where he wants you to be, and he's going to build the foundation of your ministry, and you're going to bless thousands of lives around the world.
Wow.
I was like, what? I've never met this lady in my life. Now I'm convicted. I thought she was racist. God sent her to talk to me.
Right.
And then the admissions counselor who took us on the tour, she looked at me like this, like, I've been here for decades. This has never happened.
Wow.
So you want to just fill out the application, or you want to continue the tour?
Right.
And the rest was history, man. And I thank God for it, because those markers, those points in my life, like now I'm back at Biola teaching. I'm going on like 8 years of teaching at the university.
Wow.
You know, and I just remember the beginning of the journey was I didn't grow up in church. You know, I trusted God with my future, and now I'm able to give back. I'm able to serve. I'm able to impact lives of people who need life.
Yeah.
Who need, their spirits uplifted, who need salvation.
Man, that's such a remarkable story. Even like just, I mean, so many things. I mean, specifically as a young man, young black man, we're faced with so many things. And, whether it's the streets, whether it's the allure of what the stereotypical elements of what we want to be, whether, it's entertainers, music, like hoopers, and the fact that you are able to, avoid that focus on athletics, thinking that is gonna be your ticket.
Yep.
And even during that process, meeting God, having the ideas of how much of it is spirit and flesh, and that journey of, like you said, whether it's ego, whether it's anger, and then to get to a space still as a young man and say, I'm gonna dedicate my entire life to ministry, and to take it. I mean, because as somebody, I almost have like the opposite story in a way, to where I did grow up in church. I was a PK, which often, because of my debates and discourse with my father, made me a skeptic, and because the word was thrown at me as discipline. So I despised a lot of the ideas, and I'm like, I need to go find this stuff out for myself. So I can have all the tools I need to debate with my dad when he's enforcing certain rules. Even it's all a protective hedge in which he's attempting to create, but my spirit was like, nah, I don't, like, why is this and why is that? So, and then choosing entertainment as my ticket out, and then getting to a space to where, and this is what I say, because I know the difficulty of it, is even, in my 30s, I end up attempting to, get my doctorate in theology and seminary through Howard University, and I didn't finish. I was like, just because, and even, we'll get into this too as well in, later sessions, but like once you start receiving a lot of the core and real information, if your heart isn't in the right place, I forgot what the actual statistic was, but they tell you this in theology and seminary, is like a lot of you, once you start hearing the truth, your faith is going to be diminished. And it's unfortunate, because if you're there for the right reasons, it's just going to fuel you. If you're there for the wrong reasons, it's gonna deter you. So
well, the nickname for seminary is cemetery.
Yeah, right. I understand. I get that in that sense, because that's the thing. Like, it almost will test you to your core.
It will.
Because you're like, once you find out some of these accurate truths, and specifically things that, whether it's through colonialism, things that they've been hiding, whether it's, the business of church that you have to understand, it can demotivate some, and it can super motivate others. But that's what I was saying. What's remarkable is to be, Dr. Foster, and then ultimately the senior pastor of one of the most popular and largest churches in the greater Los Angeles area, and it's a phenomenal tale on how God is working on you and continues to work on you.
You know what he told me? So I was praying, wrestling with this whole transition from medical school to going to ministry. And again, I didn't even know you can go to school to learn the Bible. This was all new for me. And I remember praying and saying, God, like, I want to be a doctor. I want to help heal people with my hands, do surgery in that form. And he told me, I want you to heal the most important part of the human existence, the soul. that was it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I may be not dissecting or doing surgery in a room, in a hospital, but I do it all the time, dissecting the Word of God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Extracting the truth of what God's Word says to uplift and heal souls. And to me, that's I'm honored.
Yeah, yeah.
That God will use me to do that.
Nah, it's powerful, man. So for a moment, I mean, I think we got about 10 minutes left in this session. I have to put on my Skeptics hat for a moment. They call it devil's advocate, but I'm gonna call it angel's advocate. In that sense,
let me sip my tea.
Yeah. Because, and what I want to offer, because when you think about the audience that's watching this, because this is a mental wellness platform, and really the ideas are to help people who often don't get an opportunity to be in the settings with individuals like yourself, and individuals to talk about being vulnerable, talk about being open, having, like I said, those sometimes difficult conversations. And specifically in the world of Christianity, what's difficult is it doesn't seem inviting often.
Yeah.
And not just because, I'll take the judgmental aspect out of it for a second. It doesn't seem inviting because sometimes it can appear to be too churchy or too spiritual, and as young men, it's like, man, that's what my mama and them do, or that's where you know, like that really ain't for me. And that's why I think your story is so powerful to say, like, even as a teenager, you were intrigued and you felt the authenticity and the realness of it, to where most people feel like, ain't real. That's you know what I mean. I done heard about this. Why Jesus ain't do this? Why Jesus ain't say the hood? Or why you know, you hear a lot of these conversations that prevent people from getting a true relationship because of a lot of the religiosity that is so, especially today, outdated. So what would be your advice to, you know, someone who has these ideas and thought processes of like, Christianity was just stolen from astrology, or this is really about the equinox and the solstice stories of constellations, and the same ideas that are 2,000 years old in Christianity are the same ideas from Krishna and Egyptian ancient philosophies, and all of these things were only stolen by Constantine to control his, you know, the Council of Nicaea, and all of these things that a lot of pseudo-intellectuals, specifically in the space of the internet, feel like now everyone can poke holes and everyone is an expert on why the gospel is not the truth and not their own.
Yeah. So we'll get back to the judgmental part, but on the latter part of what you said, I think you have to understand that if you get, so what you're describing is a mythical Jesus. All right. So if you lined up those stories that you mentioned, they don't actually line up.
They don't. Yeah.
And so I can be emotive and say, oh, this was stolen from here. But if you actually line them up, the stories don't correlate.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people know that. They watch a YouTube video and they hear some guy on YouTube saying, oh, this was stolen from here, but they're cherry picking. Anybody can cherry pick anything to make a resume. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't line up. Here's something that's more fascinating. I actually took courses on atheism. So I took courses on atheism.
To understand their mindset.
I'm talking about all the books. This was an atheist class.
Oh, wow.
All atheists. Some of the top atheists were Dawkins and Hitchinson.
Right.
Now these guys, we Skyped before they had FaceTime, before they had Zoom and Teams. We Skyped.
Wow.
In the class. And what's interesting is when we're talking about this mythical Jesus, is as a prominent atheist, he mentioned one of the things that irritates him the most is when people try to make Jesus a myth.
Act like
because he said true atheists don't even believe that Jesus was a myth.
They know he exists.
Exactly. So when an educated atheist says, and a prominent atheist says, Jesus actually existed, you got to do something with that. I'm sorry. At that point,
absolutely.
Throw the myth away. So now I have to ask myself, okay, if Jesus historically existed, which he did, because there are also historical documents outside of the Bible outside of the Bible that talk about Jesus and talk about his followers. Right. So you don't just have the Bible talking about, oh, Jesus lived and he did this. He was considered a troublemaker, right? He was considered a disruptor. So if you look at historical documents outside of the Bible, they still talk about Jesus. So historically, for me, I'm like, well, the stars and all that stuff you're talking about is great, but historically, this man lived on earth. Now, who goes to the question he asked the disciples: who do men say that I am? That's what it comes down to. For me, that's what it came down to, right? Because I didn't grow up in a Christian home, so I did what you did. I went on a search. If I'm a whole, that's why when the preacher was preaching, I'm like, that sounds cool, but where is it? Right? So I went on that journey to that voyage of, if this is true, I got to know everything there is to know about it.
Right.
And a part of it is, you can't make me think Jesus didn't exist. Now, what you do with him living historically is what has caused splits in different religions and all that.
Right.
But he did exist.
Right.
Now, do you think he was a good prophet?
Right.
Do you think he died and never rose? Or is he who he said he was? That to me is the real question.
Right.
And the young people that are asking those questions it's actually kind of life or death. You kind of need to know the answer to that question.
Absolutely.
So just saying, I watched a YouTube video and they said he stole it from here, 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 and here. All right, but now if eternity is on the line, right, you might want to sit back and actually think about what this means beyond where we live today. But I want to go back to what you said. I think there's a couple of things that make church hard for people today. There's irrelevancy, right? And how does the church connect to us today? There's also judgment. And I think I don't want to just rush past that, because that's a real thing.
Indeed.
So for me, start going to church, start bringing people to church. What are the old saints saying? You can't wear pants. Right. Take the do-rag off.
Right.
You can't wear earrings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pull up your pants. I'm like, well, first of all, is Jesus in here anywhere?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I came to hear about Jesus.
Right.
And you're asking me about what I got on, what am I wearing? What if I have some herbal cologne on?
That herbal cologne.
Can I still come? Because I don't know him yet.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So
right.
I have to be able to get from that door to these seats to actually hear about the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is redeeming, that's liberating. And he says the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I've come to give you life, and that more abundantly. How can they experience an abundant life when you're hitting them in the head? And what really, I'm getting a little angry now.
But that passion is real.
What really gets me, though, is the same people judgmental have spiritual amnesia.
Yeah.
Like if we put their business on the big screen in church, they give you the Baptist finger and just walk out.
Right.
But the same people who have experienced God's love, his redemption, his compassion, his long suffering, his patience, don't want to be patient with us. And so how do I change that? Well, I need to be able to get from that front door past your judgment to love. It's the love of God that draws people to himself. So for me, I needed to be and I need to cultivate a church where anybody's welcome. There's anybody can walk through the doors of Faithful Central Bible Church. I don't care what you're dealing with. Yeah. You can walk through those doors. My team knows it. Our greeters know it. The ushers know it. Everybody knows it. If you want to hear about God, you want to hear about Jesus, come to Faithful Central. You walk through those doors, no judgment. Why? Your spiritual formation is not a light, and that's what gets on my nerves. It's not a light switch. This holiness movement and all these movements we had.
Yeah.
It's not a light switch.
Yeah.
So I can't just unpack all the baggage that I came to the door of the church with overnight. So I've built habits, right? I've got myself entangled in things I probably shouldn't be entangled in.
Right.
So now I need to be transformed. Now there's and I'm not trying to get too deep, but there's 3 types of spiritual formation or transformation, or sanctification. There's positional sanctification, there's progressive sanctification, and there's perfective sanctification. When we come to Christ, when we give our life to him, we're positioned in him. It's done. We're sealed. It's done. Then when he returns, there is perfective. That's in theology they call it glorification. When he returns with glorified state, new heaven, new earth. But in between that is what we call progressive sanctification. It means I'm progressively being transformed daily. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. So whatever baggage I have, and I got it too. That's the thing. The preacher, the pastor, I'm a human. Yeah. I got flesh. Yeah. I'm a man. Yeah. So I need to be transformed. Yeah. So every day I get up, we're continuing to be being transformed. Yeah. And that only takes place over a lifetime.
As I say, healing is not linear.
Exactly.
It's a journey in that sense.
It's an absolute journey.
Like you're not going. I am ultimately all the way healed at the end of the destination. Exactly. It's like, no, this is a process.
It's a process, and I think the church doesn't allow the process to even start with their judgment. We need to be able to be comfortable so that I can be vulnerable.
Right. That's powerful. I think, hey, that is a great space to take the pause. I mean, it truly, the passion from you is something, and even when you said what you just said, I feel like resonated, and I know it resonated with the audience. So as much as we want to continue this conversation, our first session has come to an end, but I know the next session is going to be even more powerful, because I would love in the next session to dive into more of a lot of these ideologies.
Yes, sir.
And dispel a lot of myths. Yep. And a lot of things that a lot of us have struggled with, because, as we know, the attendance specifically to church has gone away, and really specifically in the Black community, it's been the backbone.
Yep.
It's been the thing that we can rely on.
Yep.
And if we abandon it now, where do we go from here? And specifically, your city, your church, I mean, it's the most populated, the most Black people in all of California is in Inglewood, California. Yeah. You know what I mean? More than Oakland, more than Compton, more than anywhere else. And to drive through Inglewood and see that pillar, to see those murals that you guys have placed, it's uplifting. It's inspiring in a way that we need to get back to the church. Absolutely. And in an authentic way. Yeah. Like, not a lot of, dispel all of the things that we can do away with. Yeah. And, everything from, it's the white man's Jesus and all of the, that's the slave Bible. Like, we want to unpack all of that so we can get back to the relationship.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that in our next session. It's such an honor to know you on a personal level, but to also introduce you to some who don't, and to hear the origin story and to see why you're so on fire for the Most High. Yes, sir. And I hope that we can continue to help the people that need the help and need to hear this message.
Let's keep it going.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Like, subscribe. Y'all know what to do. It's Counsel Culture.